it's not enough just to throw money at a problem. It isn't enough just to make certain the scientists have enough money. We had to make certain that they were doing the right thing with that money. And so we educated ourselves. We began to create programs, and the first program, and most successful, is Project LEAD.
Sometimes it's good science, and it's a great idea, but it's not going to translate over into the patient population. And to me, that's not going to get us anywhere with breast cancer.
There is a potential for scientists to get lost and to honestly miss the big picture, which is, as they do this science, are they constantly asking themselves, what is the relevance of what I'm learning to actually making a difference? And I think it's only when they work with advocates that they see the forest as well as the trees.
If we want to really have an influence and an impact on how research is being conducted, if we want to sit on data safety monitoring boards, if we want to be part of the development of the research project from the very beginning, we have to understand the language, we have to know what it means.
Fall of 1994, I flew down to Washington, D.C. I had heard them outline the goals for what was to become Project LEAD. I said, it can't be done. You cannot, in the span of 5 days, teach all the content that you want to teach to people who don't have any science background. Fran nodded her head, thanked me for my opinion, and said, figure it out, it's got to happen.
It was controversial at the time. Because scientists were not used to this idea of having consumers working with them and making decisions alongside them, and even for government officials.
One of my fondest memories from when we were trying to convince the scientists that they should partner with advocates and that we should sit at the table and we should participate in peer review and participate in designing research was one of them said to me, but this is peer review. And I said, yes, and we're willing to consider you our peers for these purposes.
Project LEAD is like the University of Breast Cancer for advocates.
The curriculum at Project LEAD is pretty intense. We took courses such as cell biology, statistics, epidemiology. We were introduced to a new way of thinking. Really incredible that NBCC has been able to attract these people. Bob Milliken, Susan Troyan, Molly Mead, I mean, I could go on and on.
The instructors were just real patient with us and just very knowledgeable and put the information, the scientific information that we could understand and explained everything.
The faculty gives lectures, there are questions and answers to those lectures, there are packets and handouts that the classes receive. There are study groups also, and the faculty participates in the study groups, and then there's homework.
But it really taught me to look at the research in a different way. So even reading the paper, I'm looking at how the reports are published and thinking, are these valid studies? What do they really mean?
The advocates who go through Project LEAD are empowered to ask questions and to ask intelligent questions.
This has just taken me to the levels of thinking globally about breast cancer and not about my own breast cancer or my own community, because it's much larger than that.
I think we were very well prepared by Project LEAD to go out into the scientific community and kind of show our stuff.
The first time I remembered using my Project LEAD experience was using it for the Department of Defense Breast Cancer Research Program. I saw a couple of scientists really actually change their scores because I explained to them why I scored a proposal a certain way. So I felt like I had an equal voice, and because of that, I felt empowered.
And they are very knowledgeable about where we're at and what we're doing. They can discuss this on a personal level, they can discuss this on a human level, they can discuss it on a policy level, and they can discuss it on a scientific level, given the fact that Project LEAD has been successful.
We've got people who are involved helping scientists design their scientific research. We've got people helping accrue participants to research. We've got people helping scientists analyze the data they get, helping publish papers.
I remember the very first Project LEAD, and I have enormous respect for the group of women. They were truly guinea pigs. We kept them there from morning, noon, and night. Over the years, we've refined Project LEAD somewhat, but the framework, the basis of what Project LEAD is, that really hasn't changed.
What I see is a group of people who, over time, have continued to learn and increase their knowledge, and now have such a firm grounding in scientific knowledge as advocates still, not as scientists, that they're actually raising questions that the scientists feel they simply must answer because they're such good questions.
What has happened is a transformation in the system of research and cancer research in this country. When we started Project LEAD and when we started to insist that consumers have a seat at the table, that was unheard of in the cancer community. And now it has become the norm.
They have brought something to the table. They are not simply advocates, they're partners in this process, and they've made themselves partners in this process in very real ways.
Because of the National Breast Cancer Coalition, because of Project LEAD and the graduates who have made such a difference in breast cancer research, other groups, other issues, other research programs have embraced the idea of advocates being a part of the process and advocates being looked at as collaborators with scientists.
Nobody's got all the answers. No one of us alone is going to figure this out. It's really going to take all of us together.
I hope that there is not another 10 years of Project LEAD. I hope that 10 years from now we're all off doing something else and I'm going to be in Tuscany.